pretty hot in this garage right now, but I'm getting work done, so I'm pretty happy. Had some driveline issues, getting the vibrations like everybody typically does. Checked my pinion angles, everything's good there, so I decided it was time to rebuild the drive shaft because the skid plate has been up and down so many times I've had to keep straightening it out that when I drive home on it, I drive home and have vibrations the entire way. And the problem with that is it eventually wears out a drive shaft and you got to rebuild it. So I've had the drive shaft for probably 8 years, ordered the parts to rebuild it, and started the rebuild process and discovered that my drive shaft was damaged from the rock crawling I do. Rocks hit up here as the drive shaft's turned, just chewed it up. Some parts you can look at it are a little bit tweaked. So I went ahead and ordered a drive shaft from Tom Wood's Driveshaft. Where I got it last time. Those guys are awesome. Talked to them, they walked me through everything to make sure I was doing it right. And they had the order in the mail the next day, and I got it the day after that. So really fast turnaround, very helpful people. I would always recommend them. One of the things I want to go over real quick is how to measure your drive shaft when you go to place that order with them. So what they are looking for is to have your pinion yoke horizontal, have your output shaft yoke horizontal. Now for me, I have a 241 transfer case, but I removed the flange and installed a yoke. So if you're dealing with a 231, you should have a yoke with your slip yoke eliminator. So you'll have a yoke there. Make sure that is also horizontal. And you want to measure from the center of the top bolt hole to the center of the top bolt hole on your pinion yoke. So I took that measurement, and then I also took a measurement from the bottom to the bottom, and what they do is they average out those two. And it does actually make a little bit of a difference because depending on how steep your pinion angle is, they'll get it better dialed in that way. For me, because I'm running the 241, which is a Rubicon transfer case in a non-Rubicon TJ, my pinion angle is really steep. So this time when I had them build me one, I had them do some extra clearancing in the drive shaft so I can get another 5 degrees droop out of that. So let's go open the box, see what we got. All right, box came in pretty good. UPS usually doesn't do that great of a job, but this time, no problem. I hate these staples. These things always catch me, so I'm gonna pull those first. Nothing else in there. Just like the last time, they have it wrapped up real good. This time, I should say last time, I went with the Tom Woods U-joints. They have a gold seal U-joint that they use. This time I opted to go with the Spicer non-greasable just because they're a little bit stronger. And I'm hoping that they have a long life to them, so they should. They're Spicers, they always do. As usual, they have some notes to go with everything. I like that they tape the cap so that you don't accidentally knock those off while you're opening everything up. They give you a little service tool, so it's just a little needle for your grease gun that you can get in there and get the centering ball. Haven't seen anything that good looking in a long time. So on this, they attach a little tag here. And I mean, obviously these guys do a lot of work, very good at what they do. But when you look at the tag, it's got my name, it's got the measurements that I sent in, and it has the shaft that I chose. So you can get two different versions of a shaft. They have one that has the splines that go the whole length, and there's another one that the splines only go a little bit. I got the full length, so if I have to do any adjustments later on, that I will have spline engagement to do that. Now you can only do that if your shaft is longer than, I believe, 16 inches roughly. So, with that being said, now if you guys aren't aware, these drive shafts are balanced in what they call a phase. This yoke right here and this yoke right here, they're in line. That's called in phase. So if you ever separate your drive shaft, don't turn it 90 degrees, because then it's out of phase. You're going to have vibrations. You will chase them down forever. With no success. So make sure that if you ever decide to take your drive shaft apart, mark it here, and I also mark it right on the spline. So I have 3 different reference points to make sure everything goes back together the way it should. One other thing I do too when I rebuild a shaft is I will mark the centering yoke too. You see how this one here has a weight? I told you they put tape on there for a reason. Idiot. Good. So when you look at this here, it has a weight on it. So if you were to turn this 180 degrees, then your weight's going to be on the opposite side. You'll be chasing down vibrations again. So make sure that you mark how the weight goes in relationship to the rest of the drive shaft. So, you know, I'll take my little paint marker and I'll put a white dot here. I'll put a white dot on the spline that lines directly up with that. And try not to put it on this piece, because this piece can rotate. So I put it on the hard part of the shaft there. And then I also put one over here and it all lines up. And then I also put that here. Now the other thing too is you could have this on the right side but turn around. So make sure you put an arrow or some other marking that's gonna show you what direction that's in. So with that being said, everything is there and in good shape. Let me take this apart real quick, and then we'll get her installed. So that's nice. They a little piece of PVC pipe, they put it in there, so during shipping, if the shipper drops it, it can't overcompress and damage anything. So packaging very well, no doubt about that. So, see how that goes. Let's get it serviced up and get it in the Jeep. So real quick before I get this installed, I just wanted to let you know that in the red bags is just the hardware that goes to mount it. My rear yoke, I use the U-bolts instead of straps. I had them send me some new U-bolts because mine have all sorts of rock rash on them. So that's new hardware for me there. And then up at the yoke, at the transfer case, new hardware there as well. Tom Woods. So installing one of these drive shafts is super easy. If this is something you think you want to take it to a shop because you're just not sure, I'm here to convince you, you can do this. Taking it apart is as simple as, for me anyway, eight nuts and bolts, comes right out, and the thing drops right out. So you can do this, simple enough. I'm gonna start with the backside since those caps are loose. Just gonna set this right in there. And then, oh, you know what, my axle's at full droop, so that's gonna give me a little bit of a problem. So I need to squish this back in since I unsquished it earlier. There it is. See if that does it. I'm gonna have to rotate my yoke. I'm gonna get this top one started first, actually, since I can see what I'm doing there. Get that first one going. Then match this up right here. Start to pull this down and into that. With the brand new drive shaft, these things are a little bit tight fit and snug to get them to come loose. So what I'm going to actually do, so I'm going to rotate this one. I'm going to add another bolt in there to make sure this thing doesn't go anywhere. And just so you know, I always add a little bit of blue Loctite on this. That'll help keep them in place. There we go. This light's shining right in my face so you guys can see what's going on, but it's making me where I can't see what's going on and give me a little bit of a disadvantage here. Okay, so I have my U-bolt up here. I'm gonna put one right there. Start a couple nuts on the back side. Now, if you get the U-bolt kit, it comes with a nut and a lock washer, but understand it is easy to over tighten these and crush your U-joint. So the straps are plenty good. I didn't do my research before I went with the U-bolts. But that's what I have now, so I'll stick with them. Finger tied there. That one still needs to separate just a little bit. Get in there. I think that still needs to get in there a little bit, but I can't quite see it with that light in my eyes. But I'm gonna go ahead and get these nuts started, and then I can adjust as I need. Don't think for a second that I think this is super easy because I happen to have a lift in my garage. Believe me, I have done enough of these on my back And it's one of the reasons I got my lift. So I've been there and done that same thing you guys are be doing, so don't think for a second that I'm not realistic about this, because I absolutely am, and have done plenty of these laying on my back. I'm getting so old that I'm just tired of it now. Just rotate it around so you can get to the other ones. And then just tighten them up. That's it, man. It's super easy. One thing you do want to make sure you do, though, if your axle, or I'm sorry, your drive shaft, wherever you buy it from, even if you don't get it from Tom Woods, if they want you to grease it prior to driving, make sure you follow those instructions, because if you don't, you're going to have a failure in short order. Damn bugs. Oh, those aren't the half-inch there. These are. I can't even see with that light in my eyes if that's in or not. So I'm not going to tighten it all the way down right now, because I want to make sure I can see before I do that. Anyway, 4 there, 4 here, snug them, don't crank them down, and then make sure you grease your centering ball, make sure you grease the tube. Anything else that the drive shaft manufacturer tells you to do. Straightforward. Now, the one thing I'll say after you get this done, before you go off and destroy another drive shaft, double check your pinion angle. On a CV joint like this, you want your pinion angle at right height to be shooting straight up this drive shaft. So on the back side of the housing here, there's some flat spots. You put an angle finder there, you put an angle finder here, and that measurement should be 90 degrees. Some people say plus or minus a degree, whatever. Chase down your vibrations till they go away, and then you're good to go. But make sure when you install your new drive shaft, double check your pinion angle, make sure that it is good to go. That's all I got. Simple job. Hope you'd enjoy it. Don't forget to subscribe.